Welcome back to American Wing Chun. I am Sifu Matt. Today is day 4 of our wooden dummy exercises for beginners series. So today's technique is the advancing tanda. So like yesterday, we were doing a tanda with a stance turn. Now we're going to do that from a little bit further away from the dummy and advancing in with some footwork. But I have 2 different ways we can do this. So there's 2 versions of this technique. One is, if you've seen our 7 deadly Lhasa attacks video, this is that tanda where you do a cross arm step, arm and leg, where the mansao goes forward, and then you do a chumkyu step, where the stance turns to line up with the tan, just like what we did in the video yesterday. And my body powers this strike. My foot will step pointing straight, and then I'm going to shift my weight onto that leg and then do a stance turn to add power to that strike. So that version is where he has his hands up and you're going to go inside of that front arm. So you go inside of that front arm to make contact, and then you're going to turn and attack, whether it's a fist or a palm or a foxao, satsao, spade hand, whatever this wants to be. Doesn't really matter. But you're going to go forward and turn and strike. So I cover that distance, covering his arms, and then I do a stance turn to strike. Advance and do that mansao going forward. You see now how important that initial technique we did on day 1 was. We're using that a lot. So that goes forward, and then I do a stance turn and come forward here. I advance and I turn. Version number 2, this will be something that you don't see very often with people talking about the wooden dummy, but you can set yourself up in different positions to make the dummy give you the kind of force that you want to have so you can work on very specific techniques. So I am going to set myself up where the arm is pointing directly at my center, whether it's on that side or on this side. And I'm going to start from a little bit of distance away where I can't really reach it by extending my front hand out. I'm going to step and punch into it using the chinbo, which we have a video on our channel teaching how to do the chinbo. Refer to that if you don't know how to do it. So I advance with my hand, chinbo forward, run into that same kind of contact like we had here. So in line with the arm, punching forward, run into this resistance. It's on this half of my body, and it causes me to pivot off to the side for the tanda, whether it's a punch or a palm, doesn't matter. So I go forward, making that contact. His force makes my back foot pivot off to the side. So initially, I'm trying to go straight towards the dummy, right through where the arm is. But since that's in the way and I don't want to be impaled by his attack, I'm going forward. And instead of my back foot trailing behind my front foot, I'm going to have my back foot shift off to the side to get me offline slightly. So I advance and punch, and then tanda from there. You can also do it on the other side. So whichever arm that you're lining up with, if you have those arms match your arms, the side arm that you're going to line up with, have that side arm in front so that you can punch with the back hand and end up cross-armed with him. And then you have this. You're not necessarily trying to make contact with the leg for this technique because his leg and his center are off-center now because you're offline at the center of the dummy. But I want to face down the center of his arm. I start my punch. I step in, and his force makes me go to tansao as I punch or palm with my other hand. So I use his force to move me offline. My one step moves 2 of my feet. It's not that I'm going here and then stepping up. I want this initial pulling of my back foot to make me pivot off to the side. It's kind of like that compass tool that draws a circle like you see on a map. Your front foot is the peg that goes into the paper. The back foot is the pen or the pencil that draws on the paper the circle. And I want to pivot off to the side. Except I don't want to make exactly a circle. I want it to go more straight instead of an arcing motion with my back foot sliding on the ground. So I go forward and shift offline. So I don't think I've ever seen anyone show this before, where you can use the arm itself to line up with, to give you the pressure that you want. I could technically do the same thing here with the other side. So I can do it with this side or this side on the same arm, but then these other arms kind of get in the way. And so you're trying to facilitate your training for a technique to get repetitions, where this guy doesn't really complain about not getting a turn. So whatever facilitates the technique better, where you're not impaling yourself on these other arms that are not in play right now, this is definitely now a cross-armed technique. We're not doing this in the center, doing an inside tan sao. We're doing an outside tan sao when you're stepping down the center for this one. So the first version was where we're still at this distance from the dummy. Or actually, no, we're stepping in for this one. So we're stepping cross arm and legged and turning this way, which is a different footwork. It can be kind of deceiving. It looks similar to what we just did. This is a different footwork than if I'm lined up with him and I'm pivoting this way. One has where I step straddling a line and I turn. The other one is where I circle around a line and my back foot pivots. Those are very different pieces of footwork. And if you're not paying attention to what you're doing, you can confuse the two, and they're not the same thing. They're not used for the same purpose. So pay attention to which piece of footwork you're doing. So crossing this way, crossing arm and leg, my left hand's in front, my right leg's in front, and then I turn. Or my right arm's in front, my left leg's in front, and then I turn. Or I'm lined up with the arm, and my same side arm and leg is in front as I punch, and I pivot off to the side as I come in with my body weight with that. So keeping my weight on the back leg, and then allowing my back foot to slide in as soon as that foot touches the ground. And as soon as I feel, I don't want to impale myself on that arm, I feel that that's pushing me off to the side. That's what you're practicing with this technique. So it could be that you're punching in like you're trying to wedge through his attack. And as he punched back at you, or maybe his hands were just up, you feel that obstruction, and so you just shift your body around, flanking him from the side, and you punch in. So that is technique number 4.